Hello, welcome to Desktop Expert. Here is the map of Japan. These are all the cities that have subway or tramway. Notably absent is Niigata and Kanazawa. Now let's talk about Kanazawa. It's a lovely place. There's the station there, very busy station. Beautiful. This gate, that's the entrance to the station. Underneath this is a massive underground plaza. It's a very snowy city. So if you were there on a snowy day, you can get quite a long way from the station without even going outside. So we'll talk about what opportunities this city might have for a potential subway in the future. One more look at it. This is the station in the daylight. Quite a built-up area, very busy city, and quite a prosperous city. Now, this is a map that shows Hokuriku Tetsudo, or as it's now called Hokutetsu by the locals. Used to have lots of lines. That one's closed, and they also had some type of street tramway. That's probably why you get a station like Nomachi that's sort of in the middle of nowhere now. We have the Asanogawa line that goes out to Uchinada. I rode this, was quite busy. And then we have the Ishikawa line that goes out to Tsurugi. Now, this was indifferently busy, but most of the customers that got on, I rode during the day, most customers got off at Nishi Kanazawa because this Nomachi station sort of drops you in the middle of nowhere. So let's fling on over to Google Earth and have a look what's going on the map. So we've got Nishi Kanazawa. Now this is all single track, but as you can see, most of the busy level crossings have all been grade separated. So this train can run every 20 minutes, but there was a lot of passing loops, so the frequency could be increased with minimal investment. We head from Nishi Kanazawa, we head through this sort of not much going on, and then we get to Nomachi. Now Nomachi's a bit of a residential area. We go about a kilometre and we get to this very built up part of Kanazawa that is sort of like Kanazawa's real central business district. And just behind we have Kenrokuen, which is one of the top 3 gardens in Japan. We have the Museum of Contemporary Art, and we have a lot of the big businesses and hotels are along this street. In this area is a pretty famous market. Now this intersection here is interesting because it's all hollowed out underneath, so that'd be the perfect spot for an underground train station. It has exits, elevators, so all of those could be repurposed and the new station could be slotted in amongst that existing infrastructure. This is sort of the main street that leads from the market to the main railway station. It has extensive underground car parks. So a lot of the entrances and exits of that could be repurposed. And here is the absolutely spectacular Kanazawa station. Now, the other Hokutetsu line that goes out to Uchinada leaves from inside this underground plaza that's under the forecourt here. Now, this line, I would say, could be continued around this corner with minimal surface disruption and repurpose some of the underground infrastructure that's already there. This line that goes out to Uchinada, it's sort of got a one-sided catchment, which isn't ideal. It doesn't have too many level crossings on it, but once you get out to Uchinada, you've got quite a dense area there, and you're not that far from this beach, which I stuck my foot in the water. It was very pleasant temperature, even in May. We have one railway line that just drops passengers in town. It operates at a fairly low frequency. It's single track all the way. I don't think I saw any passing loops, but it's not to say one couldn't be added in the future if they wanted to double the frequency. What would an underground railway look like in this town? Let's have a look at our path tool. I would assume we'd start somewhere around Nishi Kanazawa. We'd basically retrace the original route. We would break out of it somewhere here around Nomachi Station, and we'd get to the main street, and we would have a station here somewhere. This main street is very busy with buses, so a lot of those bus passengers could become passengers of the future Kanazawa Subway. We'd get into this Katamachi area, which has some pretty big buildings, some big office towers. It's sort of like a second CBD. And then we've got big tourism attractions in this area. There's a samurai town, there's the art museum, there's the garden. Then we could come down this street, maybe have a station in the middle here somewhere. This market area here is a pretty major attraction, and it would be a stepping off point for a lot of tourists who are walking through these parks, going up to Kenrokuen, going to other attractions. And then we could repurpose some of these underground malls and underground underpasses. Very snowy city, so there is a lot of understreet underpasses here and under car parks. And this is mainly a hotel district. There's some massive hotels around here. Big tourism economy here in town. And then we could either connect up to this Hokutetsu line, or we could continue out this way. Perhaps the Hokutetsu line could just be a feeder and feed tourists and passengers onto this subway. Now, the advantage this would have that it could through run both of these isolated railway lines. The suburban traffic on these former JR lines really isn't a lot because these trains are quite infrequent. More frequency, obviously, they'd be much more patronised. We have the Shinkansen. Now, I went to the station around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It was shoulder to shoulder, so it's still a very busy location. There's lots of passengers coming out that need to be dispersed throughout the city. So I think of all the cities in Japan that don't have a subway, this is probably the only city where you could make one work.